What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in the one, the only time city. Now, this episode may look a little bit different. That's because I have reshade applied to the game at the moment for this episode. Makes it look really cool and cinematic, and there's so many different things you can change up with it, and it actually helps a lot with editing and stuff. So instead of doing it in post-production, I can actually make these effects without using it in editing in post-production, which is fantastic. So we start things off in this episode by just doing a couple of custom supporting with the wooden coaster, the GCI, and this area is really starting to come together. It's starting to look really, really fantastic, and I'm actually very proud of how it's looking. Like, it's looking better than what I thought it would end up turning out, so that's a good thing. And we work a little bit in the station area as well in this episode, so I'm very excited because we get so much cool stuff done. And we sadly don't get to the tower again this time, but I'm really just focused lately on getting this area more and more complete as we go, and we'll move into that area as soon as we can, hopefully sooner rather than later. So we go in and actually, in the parts where the coaster crosses over, we add some metal support structures that you see quite often when you have some gateway engineering kind of stuff in a lot of these coasters. So that's what you see a lot on wooden coasters and wooden structures in general. They actually have these little these iron steel beams that go across. It just kind of helps the support because it's not actually supported underneath that, because it has to leave an opening for the track to go underneath, and it needs to be a little bit more strength to it, so it doesn't like wear down as easily as it would with wood. So that's nice. And there's a lot of spots where this coaster crosses over itself, so I'm hoping I got all of them. I think I did, but you never know if there might have been a spot I missed. I know I'll end up probably finding a spot where I missed some of it. So a big, strong one thing that we do work a lot on in this episode also is actually a lot in the queue line and the priority pass line. To complete those sections up just a little bit more, because now there's not an open queue line. It all has fencing up now, or at least some fencing. Like, it's all looking good, and we're starting to do a lot more theming and scenery to the queue line, and actually start getting the building all together for the queue itself, because as we go along, I'm trying to do some nice theming elements along those areas, and adding some also been adding some speakers with some of the background music that plays, and it's a very eerie kind of sounding music from Epidemic Sound, so I actually imported it into the game, which actually sounds really nice. It gives you kind of this eerie feeling, and this section of the park is actually going to be a great area for like Halloween events for sure. I can't wait because, you know, it's the apocalypse section. It's almost like Halloween every single day in this section of the park, if you really kind of think about it. So it works out quite nicely, and I'm very excited to see how it goes. I'm just like legit just like super excited, and you're gonna see a lot of these speakers around the park because I'm gonna really bring the areas to life with a lot of sound and music and everything that's playing throughout the thing. I love audio theming. It adds so much to the everything around it. So I just love audio theming. Oh my gosh, it adds so much. Visual theming's great, but audio theming can actually add so much to a park. Like, it's ridiculous of how much it can add to a park. So I did a lot of these chain link fences for a lot of the queue line that goes through the coaster, because you want to have those to kind of keep your guests out of that area for sure, and of course you got to have the restricted area, do not enter signage as well on those. That helps a lot. And then one thing I've been not actually been working on is, the priority pass entrance and the pathway that leads up to the station building, and I wanted to add some just to add a little bit more to the fencing and everything to make it look a lot better. You'll see here in just a little bit we'll actually put a cover over it as well. And it ended up turning out a lot better than I expected to, because I was a little nervous of how this would actually turn out in the end, and it actually ended up going in a good direction, and I like how it turned out. So I'm very, very happy of how it turned out, and we're getting a lot. Every time I finish a little spot in this building queue line section, I try to put the roof on it as well. So slowly going to be enclosing the building, and everything else is going to be kind of remaining the same. Maybe a little bit of theming here and there in some sections, but overall there's actually not that much to do. Just get some scenery and theming into these areas, and it'll look really, really cool. So you're going to see a lot of signs in the queue line as well. That's going to represent a lot of like companies that carry supplies and stuff. So it just kind of goes along with the theming. You're going to see the some everything's going to be like an apocalypse section in general, where everything is going to be kind of broken and kind of destroyed, barely standing kind of feel. That's another thing that you want to kind of see. So there's going to be some good theming in the queue line. I don't want to overdo it, so there's going to be enough theming there that you're going to know what's going on. But I also will do some more awesome audio theming, I think, as well as we go along at the same time. So there's going to be some cool audio theme along with the ambient kind of style of music that plays in there. I want to have some cool audio theming throughout the queue line at the same time to give some really cool noise effects and audio effects throughout the queue as well. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll do that by the next episode or something. And the last episode, we actually did create some the announcement audio for the station, which actually turned out really good. And I think I'm actually going to make a tutorial on how to create triggered custom audio, because it is broke in the game pretty much. If you trigger custom audio with triggered speakers, it will work for a little bit, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it does not work. It just doesn't play for whatever reason. But I might create a tutorial on how to make it, because you have to use display speakers along with a display sequencer, and that's how I actually got it to work, which actually is very nice. And I might end up doing a quick tutorial video on that for those that don't know, because I don't know if there's really a video on explaining on how that works. If you're using the in-game audio, you don't have to worry about it, because all the in-game audio does work, but custom audio does not for some reason. It's a very, very strange thing. But anyways, this is the little cover that we use for the priority pass. I'm going to do a couple, some cool theming elements on those platforms as well. It's also going to act as the roof of the building at the same time, and it's gonna look very nice. And like I said, it turned out a lot better than I was expecting it to, and I'm very happy about that. So with this came a little bit more support structure on the platform, because it was just kind of hanging off, so we did have to actually create a little bit of support structure for it, which ended up turning out really, really well as well. But it actually looks very nice, and I was very, very satisfied of how it actually turned out. In this area, just in general, all we really have left is pretty much, finishing up the custom supports, the theming in the queue line, and completing that building in the queue line as well. And just maybe some scenery objects here and there, theming elements, and I think we'll be in a pretty good state. I actually want to add some speakers on the lift hill as well, and create some cool sounds on there, almost a little bit like Mystic Timbers. They have some audio effects on their lift hill, and I want to do stuff like that. I want to make sure these coasters are heavily themed, and that's the one thing, because this park is going to be super themed, like it very much like the most ridiculous amount of theming that you can think of, and that's kind of where we want to be. Like I said, this park is a lot inspired by multiple different things and kind of thrown into one, making it its own thing. It's inspired by Universal, Disney, and Time Traveler from Silver Dollar City. Very interesting kind of combinations there that kind of create this idea and I thought it was really, really cool. So one thing I think the area was kind of lacking was some buildings and stalls. So we're gonna get this is actually part of the new DLC, the World's Fair, is the Just Ribbon stall, which is a rib stall, so you can actually get ribs. I thought it was a very fun idea for the apocalypse section with, like, zombies and stuff, and you're eating ribs. So I thought that was funny. So yeah. But anyways, we got this building. I still have more details to do on this building, even after we're done in this episode. But I wanted to get a building out there and start to really close in on all the areas in here. So really get those pathways kind of filled up with some different stalls and different attractions and stuff like that. Maybe even another ride or so with these areas, and get them together very, very nicely. And I don't know if I'm going to implement a lot of the World Fair pack within this park. Probably not a whole lot. Like I said, we got the Just Ribbon stall here in this section, but I was just like, hey, I can use that. Why not? And it was kind of one of those things. But it will work out. Hopefully, we'll find some use for some other buildings, which actually have a lot of good stuff. Actually, there's a couple of Victorian pieces I would love to use that actually came with the World's Fair pack that I think I would actually, which actually will be beneficial to the park, especially at least for the entrance area and stuff like that, because the Victorian kind of theme works very well for for the time travel area. Kind of is pretty much. I think that will work. Yeah, it will work. It will look good. I mean, we have some really cool, actually, new windows Victorian windows that actually is going to really help quite a bit. And I think it actually will be really nice to get those implemented, maybe in the entrance area a little bit more, and the entrance area can start to develop, because we still have a lot of work to do in the entrance area and just in the other areas in general. Not just that area. We got the apocalypse section, the Jurassic section still needs a lot of work as well. There's still so much work to do in those sections, and that's at least in the Jurassic section for sure. Once we get some UGC from the Theme Makers Toolkits, I think I'll definitely try and get some dinosaurs into the game, some dinosaur animatronics or something like that for sure for the Jurassic section, and hopefully we can get that in there very, very soon. I'm just thinking about when I do upload to the Steam Workshop, how much custom stuff I'm going to have to get that full experience. If you want to have the full experience, you're going to have to download all the custom images and audio, and you're also going to have to make sure if we do use the Theme Makers Toolkits, that you have all those objects available to you as well and subscribed, because I'm going to try and take some stuff off the Steam Workshop, hopefully some Steam Workshop stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do some 3D modeling myself, which I'm not very confident in, especially for making dinosaur animatronics for sure. But we'll see. Hopefully, we get more information about the the Theme Makers Toolkits, hopefully sooner rather than later. I think it will come out during the next update, maybe like during the anniversary update or something. I think that'll be good. And I had to put some cubbies on this platform for the GCI coaster. I think they turned out quite nicely too. And that's all I wanted was some cubbies for each of my rides and stuff, so people have a place to put their loose articles in. So they can leave their stuff there and not have to take it on the ride and lose stuff on the ride, because no cell phones, hats, bags, cell phones, cameras are not allowed on this attraction. Yeah, that general stuff. So, but I do like how the automated announcements recorded announcements turned out. And I wanted to put in for fun, just like, since we don't have operators that check restraints in the game, I wanted to put an extra operator back here, because a lot of coasters actually have another dispatch button that actually enables the dispatch when it's in automatic mode. You'll actually see more than one person that has a operating console, and usually there's a small one down on dock that someone has to push along with the operator. That way a ride can't accidentally get dispatched, and that's kind of the purpose of those. So we ended up actually putting, for right now, a zombie guy in here just for fun, because I thought it'd be the most in theme, and to have all this ripped up clothing and stuff like that for this employee, and he looks like he's trying to get a hold of the dispatch button. I just used the Time Machine console for that button, by the way. And here we go into a little bit at night, and I edited a little bit on the trigger sequence. It does do this epic flash on the dispatch, so it's gonna have a really, really cool night ride. I'm very excited for the night ride on this ride. It's gonna be awesome. Like the night ride, I've actually seen the POV a couple times. If you've seen the stream, you've probably seen the night ride POV, and it's actually really cool. I want to do some really cool do some lighting, really awesome lighting with the ride, maybe even some triggered lights for flashing effects and stuff. I think that would be kind of cool. Have some strobe lights. We're also going to be adding like a really cool, we're going to add an on-ride photo section as well, which will actually bring some life to the ride as well. I got to figure out where I'm going to put that. But that's about it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe for more amazing content like this. And be sure to follow us on Twitch if you want to watch these episodes live. So with that being said, have a great day, and even have a cooler tomorrow. And I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Thanks so much, and goodbye.